This is a Styrofoam noise reduction box or sound box that I made for a generator. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I made it, and then we'll fire up the generator and we'll do some sound testing. I'll be modeling my Styrofoam sound box after this plywood generator sound box that I made last year. I'll be using Nichrome Hot-wire technology to cut my 2-inch thick Styrofoam today. I recently made a video for how to make your own hot-wire Styrofoam cutter, and I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video. To begin my build, I need 24-inch wide strips of Styrofoam. I built this hot-wire table saw to do just that. This thing handles 4x8 sheets of Styrofoam. Nichrome Hot-wire technology is pretty simple. You just take a piece of Nichrome wire and you put an electrode on one end, and then on the other end is another electrode. These are going to go to some kind of power source, and today we're going to be using this 12-volt battery. Using this Nichrome Hot-wire technology is how I made this table saw. It's a pretty basic setup. I have a fence in the back, and then I have my table, and then I've got my hot wire. Using Nichrome Hot-wire technology makes it super easy when you're ripping strips of Styrofoam. Now that I have 24-inch wide strips of Styrofoam, I can begin cutting the pieces for my sound box. To keep the build relatively simple, 24 inches is the height and the width of the sound box. I'm going to cut my two sides first. They're already 24 inches wide, so I'll just cut them off at 36. Two sides and the top are all the same measurement, 24 inches wide, 36 inches long. For the front and the back, we're looking at 24 inches wide by 22. So we'll cut two more pieces. All right, here's where we're at. We have the back, we have the top, and the two sides. And then I have the front. Notice I've cut two pieces here. This is the sound chamber, and let me show you on the plywood box what that sound chamber is. Here on the plywood sound box, you can see the sound chamber that I made. The heat from the exhaust goes out the dryer vent, and then the noise goes out here. It has to bounce around inside the sound chamber before it actually leaves. The inside piece of the sound chamber has a rectangular opening, and the outside piece of the sound chamber has two rectangle openings. For glue today, I'll be using Great Stuff expanding foam. I'll be using the waste from the cutouts to make my spacers for my sound chamber, and I'll just glue it together. But before I can put this on there, I want to remove the foil so that it makes a good bond. I'm happy that I have the foil because it'll make a nice heat barrier inside the sound box. I'll be removing the plastic on this piece as well. I've cut the spacers 2.5. These spacers are what's going to go in between to make the sandwich of the sound box, like so. Let's get this glued up. It's pretty messy business. All right, it's in the sun and we're gonna let him dry for a few hours. All right, here we are about 2 hours later. The sound chamber is all held together nice. The glue is all set up. The easiest way to put this thing together would be just to use the Great Stuff and glue all the pieces together. I want this thing to be collapsible. So I'm gonna use this all thread and I'm gonna drill some holes. That way I can take it all apart. Let me show you the process. With this design, it's sturdy and collapsible. All I have left to do now is to glue in the dryer vent. Next, I'll cut these air vents that I have that go on the bottom of the unit. I'll cut these the same way with the Nichrome Hot-wire. The last cut that I made was for my exhaust fan. This fan is great for moving air through the sound box. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description below. So to do our sound testing today, we'll test how loud it is standing next to it and at 25 feet. I'll test just the generator and then we'll test it with the sound box. To get a baseline, we're standing right next to the generator at idle. Looks like 60 is about our average standing right next to it, and that's at idle. Looks like about 62 is our average standing right next to it, and that's with the full load. Looks like 55 is about our average standing next to it, and that's with the sound box. All right, this is with a 21 amp load, a full load on the generator with the sound box. Let's call it 64.5. Let's call it 51. 51 seems to be about the average. Now I'm standing out here at 25 feet and that's with a full load. Looks like our average is about 52 without the box. 2 or 3 decibels might not seem like a lot, but the box is definitely pushing the sound away from our campsite. Let's talk about the pros and cons. This thing is lightweight, only weighs 12 pounds. It's portable, it's collapsible, and it works. And for cons, I really can't think of any other than it's made out of styrofoam. It might be a little fragile, but for $25 a sheet, you can replace it pretty quick. If you like today's video, check out this video for how to make a hot wire styrofoam cutter. I'm glad you watched, and I hope you'll watch again.